What's that? A coffin? That's just creepy.
Kinda looks to me like he's going to surrender.
He's only new after all. He joined us at Tong Gate.
Wait, Master Pengdu. What are you doing with that coffin on your back?
Naturally, I have no plans to die. This is proof of my resolve. A warrior must fulfill his duty with no fear of death.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Nightowl channel. Welcome to the series where we're counting down the top Dynasty Warriors characters as of the latest game. Coming in at number 53, we've got Pang De. Pang De is a strong and fierce warrior who first served Ma Teng. He became a reputed warrior of Zhiliang and continued serving Ma Chao. When he became isolated from Ma Chao's forces, Pang De decided to join Cao Cao for historically ambiguous reasons. Then known as one of Wei's most renowned generals, he bravely faced Guan Yu at Fan Castle. Before we change into how Pang De has changed in the games that he's been a part of, take a look at the popularity polls to see why he's down here at number 53. In the first popularity poll, Pang De receives 414 votes out of a total of 75,000, putting him down at the 62nd spot. In the second popularity poll, Pang De drops down to the 64th spot. And then in my personal ranking, Pang De jumps up to the 27th spot. So for me, Pang De is a lot higher than some of the other polls, and that's because I generally like Pang De. I think he's a really cool character. I really like his personality and just what he stands for and everything like that. He's the type of character that I like to play as. The reason that he falls lower than some of the other characters is because I have a general liking towards some of the other characters, whether it's their weapon style or their personality or whatever it is. But Pang De is up there because of that personality that he has. I really like the ferocity and the honor and the loyalty that he has, the unwavering, commitment that he has to his duty, to his people that he's trying to protect, and showing the people that question him and were suspicious of him, proving them wrong, that they could have faith in him. He was going to take care of the duties that he said he was going to take care of, and I really admire that about the character. And that's why he's so high up for me. But for those who don't know who Pang De is, again, he originally was serving under Ma Chao, or Ma Teng, his Ma Chao's father, and then Ma Teng passed away, and then Ma Chao formed a coalition. And Pang De was part of that coalition for a little bit. They fought Cao Cao at the Battle of Tong Gate. They lost. The coalition broke up. He followed Ma Chao to Zhang Lu's forces, and Ma Chao left Zhang Lu, went to Liu Bei, and then Zhang Lu got beat by Cao Cao, and then Pang De ended up serving Cao Cao. Cao Cao is reputed for recruiting people of talent.
You seek to judge me on this battlefield? You interest me. Pang De, will you come and serve me?
And by the time that battle with Cao Cao and Zhang Lu had happened, and Pang De already had numerous accolades under his belt. He was known pretty well throughout that territory, especially like Zhiliang and where they were from and stuff like that, because of what he's done, putting down rebellions, his bravery, and then just some of the people that he beat and how he beat them and stuff like that. He was very well known. So by the time Cao Cao reached that part of the country, he already knew who Pang De was, and then he recruited him immediately following the battle with Zhang Lu. Alright, so with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into how Pang De has changed over the past few games he's been a part of. He's been in the game since Dynasty Warriors 5. However, unfortunately, Pang De was taken out of Dynasty Warriors 6 and Dynasty Warriors 7, so he's only been in 3 games. Dynasty Warriors 5, Dynasty Warriors 8, and Dynasty Warriors 9. I'm not sure why they took him out of the 6th and 7th installment. Some characters got removed from those games, so he was one of them. He came in Dynasty Warriors 5, and then he left. He was taken out into the 6th and the 7th game, so I'm not really sure why that happened, but let's see how he's changed from the 5th game to the 8th and to the 9th. Alright, starting off with his appearance, Pang De looks relatively the same from each game. In the Dynasty Warriors 5, he looks a little bit different, maybe not as detailed as the more recent installments, but he looks pretty much the same. He's got a lot of armor on, and he's just a big, frightening person, and that's what he was meant to be. He was meant to, he's not like a villain or a villainous person, but he had that look of, this guy is not somebody you want to mess with. This is not somebody you want to take lightly. I think they really show that with his appearance. He's a really big guy. In Dynasty Warriors 9, he's reported to be 6'9". He's bigger than everybody. So yeah, he's just this giant man. He's got armor from head to toe. and he looks very, very intimidating. But he's a very respectful, valorous kind of person, and I think with his character and personality, that's really what drew me to him, because he looks like a big, scary guy, and he could be somebody that easily, you know, bullies people or is just, you know, arrogant like Lu Bu, or, you know, other characters of that nature. But he's very humble, and Peng De is not immune to the fact that he could be killed at any moment. His willingness to die is what separates him from a lot of people, and that's actually what gains him admiration from a lot of the officers and you know, soldiers that were part of the Wei Kingdom and stuff like that, especially the people who were suspicious of him, which we'll get to when we get to his relationships and stuff like that. But appearance-wise, looks pretty much the same. He's just a very intimidating looking person, very humble. I like the way he looks, but it doesn't translate to an arrogant person. That's what I really like about him. Moving on to his weapon style, he only goes through 2 different weapon changes. The first one, he's got the twin halberd, like the small axes, you know, Zhang Liao uses, what Ma Dai uses in Dynasty Warriors 9. He has that in Dynasty Warriors 5. It's a pretty fun weapon during that game. I had a lot more fun playing it in Dynasty Warriors 5 than I had with like Ma Dai in Dynasty Warriors 9. And then in Dynasty Warriors 8 and 9, he basically gets a giant mace. And this is the mace that was originally used by Xiahou Dun in Dynasty Warriors 6. But it was a pretty good weapon. I think it actually fits him pretty well. I liked it in Dynasty Warriors 8, and I liked it in Dynasty Warriors 9 too. It just fits him well. He's a really big character. The weapon actually looks good on him, like it fits him, versus another character that uses that weapon. It's a good weapon. I enjoyed it. I didn't think it was that bad. When Xiahou Dun first had it in Dynasty Warriors 6, I did not like it, and we'll go over more of that when we get to Xiahou Dun. But I did not like it when he had it. But when Peng De was using it, when I was using Dynasty Warriors 8 and 9, I had a good time with it. I thought it was pretty cool. The only problem with the weapon was the Musou attacks. And the Musou attacks were very, very basic and very weak. So like with Ma Dai, which we covered a couple episodes ago, Ma Dai's Musou attacks were really strong, but his basic attacks were weak. But with Peng De, it's like opposite. He's very good with basic attacks, very strong, but his Musou attacks were very, very short and very, very weak. They didn't do a lot of damage, and they weren't like very long. They just very, very basic Musou attacks. But other than that, I mean, I think the weapon style was great for him. Hopefully they stick with the mace for him, because I mean, it fits him really, really well. Moving on to the voice acting, I like his voice acting in Dynasty Warriors 5 and Dynasty Warriors 8, but his voice acting in Dynasty Warriors 9 is fine, but I don't think it's as good as the Dynasty Warriors 5 and 8. With the Dynasty Warriors 5 and 8 voice acting, he has more of that commanding presence, more of that intimidating presence, but he still is humble. You can still see that valor, that loyalty, that, you know, I'll do whatever it takes to protect or, you know, prove myself to the army. Like, whatever it is, I'll do it. And you can see that when he spoke, it was like, okay, all right, we believe, okay, all right, we believe you.
Allow me to engrave upon my heart the resolve that you showed in this battle.
But in Dynasty Warriors 9, I think it's less of a factor with that. He still has it a little bit, but I think he takes a step back off of the intimidation factor just because of the way he kind of sounds. It's not as commanding.
Therefore, we should go and lead the defense of Fan Castle until it does.
The voice is just not as... It's just not the same as it was in Dynasty Warriors 5 and 8. It's just a little bit less than it was in Dynasty Warriors 5 and 8. It's still a decent voice. I don't have any, like, big thing to complain about it. It's just not as good as the prior ones when it comes to displaying that presence that Peng De was known for. But voice acting was just fine. Can't complain too much about it. I just think that the earlier ones did a better job than perhaps the most recent one. Now, moving on to his relationship, significant battles, and his death. We're going to start off with his relationship. I think the main relationship that Peng De has is probably going to be with Cao Ren, Yu Jin, maybe Cao Cao, and yeah, maybe Ma Chao as well. Those are probably the main relationships he has. Definitely Cao Ren and Yu Jin, because the Battle of Fan Castle, which I guess we can just put it together. His most significant battle was the Battle of Fan Castle, and I guess we can talk about it as well. That's the battle where he passes away, which I'll explain a little bit more after we get through his relationship. So Cao Ren and Yu Jin. So Cao Ren and Yu Jin were part of the defense of Fan Castle. This was very, very recent. Like, this was like maybe a little bit after Peng De just joined the ranks of the Wei Kingdom, and people were like very upset with how fast Peng De was promoted into the army. Like, I think he was promoted into like a person that was leading troops already, and he's only been like 1 or 2 battles with Cao Cao's forces. So at the Battle of Fan Castle, people were not happy about this. People were actually suspicious of Peng De because of how new he was, and it was evident in Dynasty Warriors 9, which is pretty cool to see. I mean, you're gonna have, you know, people have concerns about it and stuff like that, but Peng De and Yu Jin, who was there as well, gave their takes about the concerns that the men had with Peng De. Yu Jin just said, hey, he's proven himself, You know, if any of you, you know, he was more of a fear-based kind of tactic. Like, if you guys have an issue with that, we're going to execute you right here, because if you cause panic among the other people, it's going to cause us to fall. You know what I'm saying? It's going to cause, we don't want panic among the other people. So you either let it go, or I'm going to, you know, basically execute. Like, that's what he's going to execute them. Then Pang Day comes up and he's like, hey, it's all right, I understand. You know, this was one of my first, you know, it's like my first few battles with the kingdom. I understand. Again, going back to that readiness to die, you know, persuading the officers and the troops that he's leading or whoever he's fighting with, listen, I'm here for you guys, and if I need to die for you guys, I am willing to do that. And that's what he said, and that's what got the people to raise their morale. They changed their mind about him, and they're like, okay, we'll give him a shot, whatever it was. And that's how they kind of bounced back from that. Cao Cao, he has an obvious relationship with, not as big, because a lot of Pang Day's battles, I think most of his battles with the Wei Kingdom, Cao Cao's not even there. I believe he was there for one battle, which was the Battle of Hanzhong, when Cao Cao came back, but he left, and then the Battle of Fan Castle happened. Pang Day was there, Cao Cao was not. So they had the ruler-vassal relationship, but I think it's more of a relationship like, I'm going to prove my, like Pang Day, I'm going to prove myself to you, Cao Cao. I'm going to prove my worth, prove my, you know, my talent, whatever it was that you saw in me, and I'm going to prove what people have been saying about me. So that's kind of the relationship they had. And then with Ma Chao, they're from the same area. Of course, they have a relationship with each other. The relationship between them is strained after Pang Day leaves and goes obviously to the other side. But even though they're on different sides, I believe they still showed respect to each other, even though they chose to serve different people. I don't think they actually fought each other at any point or saw each other in battle. Yeah, none of the Dynasty Warriors game cover it. But yeah, they have that relationship because they were, you know, they were fighting together at one point. All right, now let's talk about his death. So Pang Day passes away at the Battle of Fan Castle, which is the biggest battle that he's a part of. It's the mission where Guan Yu raids Fan Castle, and before Wu can get there, before they can bring the reinforcements, they have to hold out for that part. So Pang Day ends up offering himself. He gets captured, and he gets executed. So what happens is Guan Yu attacks Fan Castle, floods the area, breaks down the castle. The area is flooded. Pang Day tries to escape on a small boat with a few men. I believe he only had like 3 people left. The boat capsizes. He falls into the water. He's hanging onto the boat. The Guan Yu's men surround him. They capture him, and they bring him to Guan Yu. Guan Yu says, or gives him an opportunity to surrender. Hey, listen, your cousin's serving in Hanzhong. I want to recruit you as a subordinate. Why don't you surrender now? But Pang Day, he's more of a logical person, and that's why I think he went to Cao Cao, because I guess going back to that relationship with Ma Chao, one of the reasons why they split up is because of how Ma Chao was obsessed with vengeance, right? And Pang Day was more of like, you know, that logical standpoint, like, look, man, you're not going to be able to beat him. Let it go kind of thing. He didn't. They kind of split up. He went to Cao Cao. Ma Chao went to Liu Bei, all that stuff. So when Guan Yu was offering, hey, why don't you come join Liu Bei? You know, Pang Day's looking at it like, why would I join someone who's inferior to the person I'm already serving? He has thousands of troops. He has a better grip on the land than Liu Bei does. There's just no chance of winning. He said he'd rather be a ghost of the state than be a servant of the enemy, and which I think was so badass. And then Guan Yu ends up executing him. And then going back one more time to Cao Cao's relationship with Pang Day. After Pang Day passes away, Cao Cao was deeply grieved when he learned of Pang Day's death, and he shed tears. He obviously thought Pang Day of high value if he's feeling that way after Pang Day was executed. But that's pretty much all I have for Pang Day here, man. He was a great character. I love his personality. I don't think if I did another rankings, his position would change too much. He might go down 1 or 2 or up 1 or 2. I have to relook at it, but I think he fits. I like him. He's one of my characters that I like. He's not someone that I would run to play right away, but he's somebody I would eventually play after going through perhaps some of my more favorited Wei characters, or my more favorited characters in general. I like his story. I like his personality, the way he thinks, just the kind of person that he is. I mean, he's the kind of person I would want on my team. Like that's how much I like that guy. Like he's a character I would want him on my team. But yeah, that's all I really have for Pang Day here. If you guys play as Pang Day, or if you guys are a fan of Pang Day, let me know how you guys feel about him, or if I missed anything, let me know. I enjoyed him. Again, I think he's a great character, and I'm looking forward to what he ends up being in Dynasty Warriors and the new Dynasty Warriors game that comes out. That's all I have for the video, guys. If you guys enjoyed it, definitely appreciate it. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll be back for number 52 here real shortly, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.